Hi, this is Jay from Lo Shu Numerology.com, and today we're doing a reading for Cheryl. Cheryl, I've got all your birthday digits up here, and I've already distributed them through the Lo Shu Magic Square Grid. So we start off right away with finding the patterns, rows, columns, and diagonals that mean something. First thing is the rows, and we've got one right up here at the top. It gets a solid arrow since there is something in each one of those squares. The next row gets a dashed arrow because there is nothing in any of those squares. This one's a mix of some and none, doesn't get an arrow at all. So we go for columns. These are all a mix of some and none, so no columns. And diagonals are the same, mix of some and none, no columns. Next thing we do is look for locations in the grid that have more than one digit. We've got one of those and one only. They are the ones. Now I'm going to grab the cards out of the Lo Shu deck that we need to match all of these, and I'll be back, Cheryl, in just a moment with your reading. We are back, and the first thing we're going to be looking at is this arrow at the top there. That is the head arrow, and it means, are you more logical or more emotional? And that's a solid arrow, which means a plus, which means you are more of a logical person. You're someone who can make tough decisions based on intellect, what you know, and not just emotion. The hard thing about being a person like this, though, is that you can't disregard everybody's emotions in the decisions that you make. But this tells me that at your core, you're a person who makes logical decisions. So the next one's really interesting because this dashed arrow here, this is for heart. The first one's head, then heart, and this asks, are you more emotional or logical? And we just learned up here, this one says that you're more logical. And this one, this is a minus heart, and so this one says you're more logical too. This is like doubling down on this, saying that no, don't think about it. This is actually right. This tells me that instead of thinking about how somebody feels, you oftentimes make decisions based on intellect alone, which is just what we looked at before. And again, you got to kind of watch out for that because it can make you seem uncaring, and that's not the case with you, Cheryl. It just means that you're thinking logically, and not everybody can do that. A lot of people, it's just kind of like whatever their heart tells them, that's what they go with. And finally, we're going to be looking at the numbers, and the number's 1, and you got 3 of them there. So this is very strong, and it is beginnings. This tells me that when something needs to get done, you're not afraid to jump in and you get started. And other people do notice that about you. The fact that you've got 3 ones here also tells me that you are not afraid to rely on yourself. You don't always need somebody to hold your hand when the going gets tough. And it tells me that you have some strong leadership qualities. Even if you don't think you're in a position where that comes into play, that's the kind of thing that people know about you and appreciate it. They can look to you for advice. And in fact, looking back through all 3 of these things really work together well, because this says that you're somebody who can take the lead in a task that needs to get done. You can jump in and get started on it, and you're going to be using the logic. You're going to be using logic to make the decisions for this rather than just emotion. There's your reading, Cheryl. I hope this gives you something to think about.